What's up? What's up? What's up? So now we know what the Diddy distraction been about. We got some major news, y'all. Major news. What up? What's good with y'all? Peace and blessings to everybody. I see y'all joining. Now we know why they've been hitting the airwaves with this Diddy fiasco. And that's the only thing we hearing about on the news. Starting to make sense now. I'm talking about the port strike 2024. And this is not a game. This is breaking news, what's taking place right now. Fresh off the presses. I be trying to tell y'all we in the days of Daniel, or the days that Daniel prophesied about. We're going to talk a little bit about that. So there's a port city strike going on where all of our goods are going to be affected. It's happening. Why? Because of the lack of pay. Now, this is not something that we won't survive, but it is something that you got to prepare for. And I'm definitely going to be moving accordingly when it comes to what's going on. Listen to the news, y'all.
Along the east and Gulf Coast.
Wait, hold on. Let me make sure
a dock workers strike that could
the volume is good.
slam the Supports along the east and Gulf Coast are on the verge of a dock workers strike that could slam the U.S. Just a month before the election. The International Longshoremen's Association leader, his name is Harold Daggett, he says he's willing to push the economy past its breaking point if the U.S. Maritime Alliance doesn't agree to substantial wage hikes, up to 80% over several years, and safeguards against automation. For more on how this stalemate could play out in the next few days, let's welcome Congressman Jeff Van Drew from the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. And more importantly, to this point, he is from New Jersey, which is going to be hit hard if there is a strike.
They always foreshadowing what's about to come. See, a lot of our goods are not going to be in the stores real soon, and they need a reason to pretty much, stop the election. It's going to really affect the election either by stopping it or postponing it. And this is the reason why you see the Diddy fiasco being ran all through the news, because they want to keep the people distracted. But we're talking about along the East Coast, particularly in the cities. That's who's going to get hit the most: New York, New Jersey, and things of that nature. So it's my due diligence to cover this for people on the East Coast to get, get things together.
Should say, Congressman, right off the bat, we are getting confirmation from some sources at the Port Authority of New Jersey and New York that they are planning for picketing throughout the port complex. Now, some folks are taking that as an indication that there definitely will be a strike. What say you?
Well, I hope there isn't. I mean, nothing's definite in this world. So let's really, get into it and let's try to straighten this thing out. It's a big deal. And you said some of the numbers before. Yeah. $4.5 billion per day in affecting our economy. And we don't want to go back. I mean, we've already still have some supply chain problems. This will really exacerbate supply chain problems, can exacerbate food.
So we're talking about, you hear what the news says, that it will exacerbate supply chain food problems. All supply chains is going to be affected. All right. And we already have high inflation. Most people in New York who are in the inner city, blacks and Latinos, there was a study just brung out today And it says that they did the data that 80% of people are either choosing pay their rent or buy groceries. Ain't no in betweens. It's either pay your rent or buy groceries. So, now you got ports being affected, all chain supply being affected, and they're talking about actually postponing the election. These are the facts. This is what's going on right now.
Food shortages, also.
You hear that? The news says food shortages. Food shortages. Look, you can't say these people are not warning you. The Bible warns you. See, while y'all worried about baby oil in the damn chat, because some of y'all stuck on stupid and not listening and paying attention to what's going on in the world. While y'all worried about damn Sean Puffy Combs and worried about what's going on in Hollywood, do me a favor and have some balance about yourself and understand that this is what they wanted. You not to even be able to focus on what's happening in the world. Daniel 12:1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book of life. See, this is what's really going on. A time like never before, but y'all worried about damn Diddy. Now, it's okay to talk about those things, but when something real is going on in the world that need to be addressed, I need y'all to focus. Don't say you wasn't warned. Now, as they said, food chains will be affected. We're talking about the election being postponed. Food chains being affected in these areas.
It affecting our economy. And we don't want to go back. I mean, we've already still have some supply chain problems. This will really exacerbate supply chain problems, can exacerbate food shortages. Also, a lot of these supplies for automobiles, a lot of the parts for automobiles go through these ports. This is a real big deal. Now, and this is important.
It says it's a real big deal and it is important. They're warning you.
A lot of the parts for automobiles go through these ports. This is a real big deal. Now, this is important.
I can't live my life as an NPC and a sheep. What a worthless existence when you can't even pay attention to what's going on in the world. What a useless existence.
Mr. Dagger is a very shrewd negotiator. He, again, is the head of the Longshoremen's Union. He's been at it for a while. I think he's actually a third-generation longshoreman, so he knows the business well. The strike is timed to start on Tuesday. Tuesday is the day of the vice presidential debate. Tim Walz, if there is a strike, Tim Walz is going to be asked about that undeniably, and he's going to have a little egg in his face, right?
Well, I mean, he'll be asked about it. Let's see what his answer is. I mean, this is something you have to really think through. I always support workers, whether they're union or non-union. However, this is a case where it affects lots of other workers within the...
See, the workers are not getting paid enough. And this is what you got to understand about port work. This is what you must understand. See, because they're union workers and they're not really getting paid enough, they're going on strike, and the food, all of the goods, all of the things that go to your grocery store won't be available. Why? Because they will be on these ships spoiling. And this has happened before in history. During the Great Depression, this happened. See, I'm going to give y'all some history. During the Great Depression, this took place, and the world didn't really riot. They didn't do nothing because it wasn't cities. Nobody was compact, one on top of each other. And they had fair warning to prepare. Nowadays, everybody in a delusion. If it hits a city near you, what are you going to do? Let's go.
Country and people and families and working families. So this requires presidential leadership. You know what this is all about? This is about presidential leadership. The president, not Taft-Hartley, he shouldn't invoke that, but he should get in there and really say, come on, let's straighten this out, bang some heads together, work this thing through, make sure the workers get what they need, but also make sure the country gets what it needs in supplies. This is a really important time, and I don't think we're going to see that leadership. We haven't seen it all along. We haven't seen it with foreign affairs. We haven't seen it with the wall, with the border. We haven't seen it with a bunch of stuff. I don't know why we suddenly see it here.
That's because America is a land divided. And it is reaching a time of tribulation like never before. Yeah, let me grab a water real quick. I thought I brung one out here. But y'all know I'm packing up, moving right now. Y'all know what it is. What this? Telling y'all, man, this stuff is real. They really talking about postponing the election or even stopping the election. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, Hollywood is in judgment. The United States is under judgment, and it's really going down right now. It's really going down. And they got to stop everything all at once. Peep this, y'all.
Here, I actually hope that we do. This is beyond being partisan.
Of course, the president claims that he is a union guy and that nobody's been friendlier to the unions than he has in the history of the presidency. If he can't work this out before the strike, again, it's going to make that position hard to defend.
Well, it is, and if he is a union guy, he also cares about all the other unions and all the other families that are going to be affected by this. You can do this, but you got to be strong. You know, that's the thing. That's the word that you don't.
Look, the news is warning y'all what's going to happen. So it's and trust and believe it's here.
Welcome back. We are days away from a potential strike by 45,000 dock workers at more than 24 ports along the East and Gulf coasts. Negotiations remain at a standstill with half of the nation's cargo in limbo. Trucking companies are scrambling to move product.
Now I want y'all to understand this. The trucking companies are not going to be able to move product. Now I want y'all to really think about this right now. Why we have land initiatives. Why we prepare for the times to come. There will be half of the country missing food in the grocery stores. This is what they're talking about amidst a few days, few weeks from the presidential election. They're talking about actually postpone. This is all over the news. But nobody's paying attention to it because of Diddy. Nobody's paying attention to this. Like to the point where I'm in this chat and I'm like, y'all, look, if you're on the East Coast to the West Coast, all I see is foolish people talking about Diddy. Like, how lost can one be? Diddy is going to die in jail. Why are you worried about it? There's real news going on right now that people should be preparing for. And it's been put on me to tell the truth. Because there's going to be some people who need to prepare. And even if it doesn't happen, the way this is going down right now in this country, it's going to happen. And they're foreshadowing what's going to happen. This is the importance of having gardens. This is the importance of getting prepared. Don't get sidetracked by the nonsense that you see going on in the media. This is the basic conversation with people today. Hey, man, you know that 25andMe just stopped, doing all DNA and, all the executives stepped down and there's all kind of things happening with the world right now. Oh, yeah, but did you hear Diddy had 1,000 bottles of baby oil? What? So right now there's a There's a port strike that's going to affect half of our supply chain in America. And, which within the next 3 to 5 months, we could be in some potential, austerity measures. Yeah, I heard all that. But, haven't you heard that Candace Owens said that Kamala Harris ain't even black, though? As if we ain't been saying that. Okay, do you know that the UN, right? Y'all know the UN? They just had the World Summit just now. While y'all were talking about Diddy, the UN was having their global summit, and all they were talking about was the New World Order and the Great Reset that's about to take place. Oh yeah, but did you hear Lizzo lost some weight though? It's like, what's wrong with y'all? So I'm gonna let you know right now, this is New Breed Global Truth. I don't give a damn about the BS unless there's a learning experience in it. Let's go.
Welcome back. We are days away from a potential strike by 45,000 dock workers at more than 24 ports along the east and Gulf coasts. Negotiations remain at a standstill with half of the nation's cargo in limbo. Trucking companies are scrambling to move products off ships before things potentially grind to a halt on Tuesday. And now major shipping companies...
They just gave you a date. Tuesday on the East Coast, they're telling you that it's a great chance that half of the food will not be in the grocery stores in the East Coast. Y'all keep taking this stuff as a joke and as a damn game. Keep on playing with yourself. You just keep on playing with yourself. They're giving you days. Now, when was this news aired? 18 hours ago.
But he said they will be slapping a port disruption surcharge on all cargo coming to or from these terminals if a strike does go through. Joining me now is American Trucking Association's president and CEO, Chris Spear. Chris, great to have you. Thanks for...
Now, I'm going to tell you some of the other outcomes. Let's say the port city workers get what they want and a strike doesn't happen because our country comes together and say, hey, we can't allow this to happen, right? And they actually come together and do what it is they need to do. What's the outcome here? Guess what? Guess what every other worker is going to do? Let me see if y'all paying attention. Guess what every other worker is going to do right now in a country where everybody's underpaid and underappreciated? Come on, talk to me. What is every other worker going to do? They're going to strike, including the truckers, including your fast food workers, including grocery store workers. That's what's going to happen. So something is major taking place around this presidential election. This is what we have been distracted from. There's been murmurs about this for quite some time.
Very much for being here. What's your reaction to this, and where do you think this is going?
Well, Maria, thanks for having me. I think the impact, if this strike occurs next Tuesday, is going to be significant, not just on the economy, but Americans, everybody that's in need of goods each day are going to feel the impact that this is.
Everybody who in need of goods each day will feel the impact, will feel the impact, will feel the impact. But when somebody telling y'all, look, you got to pay attention, be a watcher, see what's going on, then you got to prepare for it. Y'all people ain't trying to hear that. They ain't trying to hear that until your baby ain't got no milk. Until you ain't got your bare essentials in the house. And I ain't telling you to worry. I'm telling you to pay attention to what's going on in the world and start getting sidetracked by these dumbass celebrities. Let's go.
Is going to be significant, not just on the economy, but Americans, everybody that's in need of goods each day are going to feel the impact that this is going to have. We're talking 36 ports in the East and Gulf Coast. that are represented here. 5 of the top 10 in the country are going to shut down on Tuesday. We're moving 12,000 trucks daily at Port of New York, New Jersey. This is very significant, especially on farmers. We're talking nearly half of the goods exported out of our ports come from these East Coast ports. We're talking produce, poultry, cotton. This is very significant on our farmers. That produce is going to be felt first in week 1 if this were to occur.
Produce would be affected in week 1. This could be a drill. This could be a real live simulation that they're giving you on the news. But what are you learning from it? Are you listening to what they're saying? They're saying in the first week, produce will be affected. So what does that tell you? That tells you that planting gardens is important. That tells you that having gardens is the #1 thing, no matter where you at, you should invest in. Even if you in the cities or whatever, do the best you can. Yes, heirloom gardens. See, the Most High put me in a position to be able to preach and prophesy, because that's what it is. This is lined up with the word, because the word prophesied that there will be people evading homes because of the lack of bread. That's the book of Esdras. And we are in the last days. Let's go.
People are going to have limited choice, and they're going to pay a lot more for it. So
now they're going to have limited choice, and they're going to pay a lot more for it.
To occur, people are going to have limited choice, and they're going to pay a lot more for it. So I appreciate you paying attention to this, because it's coming.
Well, this is a great.
I appreciate you paying attention to this, because it's coming. Right near the election, they're telling you it's coming. They're going to create more inflation. There's going to be half of the food in the country, not in the stores. Our whole supply chain, including cotton and everything else, will not be in the stores, according to the news, starting on Tuesday, and the election will more than likely be canceled or postponed. That's what the news is. Breaking news is all over the presses right now. Some of y'all still talking about Diddy.
Great point that you're making. So produce gets hit first. And I was thinking that the real impact would be inflationary, because obviously the supply-demand dynamics leads to higher prices for things. We're just trying to get inflation down, and perhaps we see another spike as a result of this.
Absolutely, and trucks are the glue in all of this. Whether you move it on truck or rail, trucks are still going to move that last mile. And we're talking, large companies, but also the medium and small companies, independent contractors, owner-operators. They're going to get hung out to dry if these ports shut. So beyond the 85,000 ILA workers, we're talking thousands of other workers that support the supply chain. It's going to take a long time after a week to 2 weeks of shutdown for the economy to recover. So inflation is definitely an outcome from this.
Yeah, so if the truck...
So more inflation? Come on, man. I'm telling you. We in Revelations. This is 100% facts. And all the people who get called conspiracy theorists, get called crazy, get called all these things for preparing. Then you get the news.
But also the medium and small companies, independent contractors, owner-operators, they're going to get hung out to dry if these ports shut. So beyond the 85,000 ILA workers, we're talking thousands of other workers that support the supply chain. It's going to take a long time after a week to 2 weeks of shutdown for the economy to recover. So inflation is definitely an outcome from this.
Yeah, so if the truckers take on more load, doesn't that mean we see an impact to gasoline prices? I mean, oil prices have come off of the highs in the last couple of months. Does that reverse?
Absolutely.
Let's see. Let's do, hey, if I got any moderators in the building, get these trolls out of here. Where my moderators at? And if you learning right now, like the video. Get the likes up over 1,000 right now, brothers and sisters. Get them likes up over 1,000 so we can get the word out to the people on the East Coast. And I can know there ain't a bunch of bots up in here. Shout out Broken Matrix. Thanks for holding it down, bro. It's a lot of trolls in here. So if I got people who mod it up, block these people.
Absolutely. I think you're going to see repercussions that are going to last. So every week is about a month, 2-3 weeks, push out into a quarter to 2 quarters. You could see this spilling well into 2025.
They talking about this is spilling well into 2025.
Having real repercussions. If the longer it plays out, the more impact you're going to have. So 36 ports, East Coast, Gulf Coast. This is very significant to the American economy. You can't reroute all this through the West Coast. So shutting down for terms and conditions that are completely out of reach, 70% pay increase, that's what the ILA is asking for. I think you and I would love a 70% pay increase, but that's not reality. So they need to come to the table, they need to get reasonable, and they need to get a deal.
Well, the last time...
Now, and see, this works a few ways. Let's say they get a deal on the table and this does not happen. Everybody's going to go on strike. Because that's the only way to get what you need. The only way to get what you need is going on strike. And I want to thank my moderators because y'all just held it down. You got all these clowns in here still bringing Diddy's name up.
The Biden-Harris administration got involved in the strike negotiations. The workers got what they wanted. So I wonder where this goes. Obviously the timing was on purpose, intentional timing right before the election. I'm wondering if, in fact, you do see Biden or Harris intervene here and perhaps give the workers what they want.
Wow. So guess who it's up to? It's up to Biden and Harris to give the people what they want. But guess why they not doing it, y'all? Let me see if y'all paying attention. Why is it that you think Biden and Harris ain't just sitting down at the table? I tell you why. Because they corrupted. That's why. And they got stock in that port more than you think. And they afraid of losing this race too. They afraid of losing this race too. So guess what? If they don't sit down, what happens? Everything gets postponed. See, they trying to hold on to their life. They're afraid of losing the race. So they're not going to sit down. Hey, listen, they believe in chaos. Remember, Black Lives Matter, a bunch of damn communists. Anarchists. Them people on the left side, they don't mind things getting crazy. They don't mind purges happening. As long as that means they can stay in power. As long as that means they can stay in that seat. Because you know how easy it is for them to just sit down with the port workers and give them what they need? No, they're not trying to let go of that office. Absolute power corrupts. And, it's, man, yo, if y'all could just really understand how corrupted America really is. Like, it is beyond dark.
East Coast, Gulf Coast, this is very significant to the American economy. You can't reroute all this through the West Coast. So shutting down for terms and conditions that are completely out of reach, 70% pay increase, that's what the ILA is asking for. I think you and I would love a 70% pay increase, but that's not reality. So they need to come to the table, they need to get reasonable, and they need to get a deal.
Well, the last time the Biden-Harris administration got involved in the strike negotiations, the workers got what they wanted. So I wonder where this goes. Obviously the timing was on purpose, intentional timing right before the election. I'm wondering.
She said, obviously, the timing was on purpose right before the election. Obviously, the timing was perfect right before election. Wow.
If, in fact, you do see Biden or Harris intervene here and perhaps give the workers what they want. How does this play out?
Well, if they're consistent, they're not going to come to the table. They haven't yet, and we're 5 days out. So this is really significant in terms of leadership. We've got a president, vice president.
Hey, listen, for everybody who in the chat who's saying that I look like Diddy, hey, moderators, you don't have to block them, but time them out. The ones who are spamming and repeating themselves. You can say I look like whoever you want to say I look like. And some of those people who are saying that are just straight up racist and believe that all black people look the same. So they come in here and they talk that talk because they've been looking at Diddy stuff all damn day and all week. So y'all don't have to block them, but time them out. Unless they're just repeating it. If some of these people literally repeating it over and over and over and over, trolling, and that's distracting to the rest of the chat, right? But then in a way, it kind of helps the algorithm because the algorithm want to hear Diddy. So really, y'all trolls think you trolling me, but you actually helping the algorithm. But I don't want my audience to get distracted. Anyway, let's go.
And an acting Secretary of Labor that have walked a picket line for the UAW. They are already in the pocket of big union bosses, and they've stated that. So if you're USMX representing the 36 ports, you have no incentive to come to the table if it's led by this administration, because they've already shown their cards. They're already in the pocket of labor. So there's no way that you can mediate with credibility. That's not leadership. We need it. We need it now.
That's a great point. Chris, real quick before you go, what is your assessment of the economic situation today, and how does that worsen should a strike happen?
Well, I think week over week is how you measure this. I was involved in the Taft-Hartley in 2002 when the West Coast ports shut down for nearly 2 weeks, and we measured in advance the impact that shutdown was going to have week over week. So when I say a week equals a month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks equal a quarter, you could see this spill well into 2025. The ramifications.
Yo, if you notice, all the news stations repeating the same thing. They're telling you that this is going to spill over to 2025. The election is going to be postponed, and half the country not going to have food. I'm going to click on another news station. It's damn near word for word. This is the second news station. It's damn near word for word. Let's go.
We want to focus on the 45,000 dock workers threatening to strike across America's ports next week. The strike could cause empty fruit aisles and prices to soar.
Empty food aisles. Isn't this what the prophets and the teachers of the Most High been telling y'all? Isn't this what you've been being warned about? Haven't I been on my posts? Haven't other brothers in truth been on their posts telling you what's going on? Do you think the news is just playing with y'all? Let me guess, the news is fear-mongering. Or is the news telling you the possibilities? Let me guess, the book of Esdras is fear-mongering. When it said there would be a lack of bread, so homes would be rummaged and pillaged. Let me explain something to y'all. For God's chosen people, we know how to move. We know how to move in the Holy Spirit. And we know that no harm is going to come to us because we've been moving accordingly. Ezekiel 25 or 2:5. And it says, and whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. For there are a rebellious house. Yes, shall know that a prophet had been among them. People don't want to hear. Let's go.
Or in grocery stores.
And if this goes on long enough, one analyst claims the strike could potentially cost the U.S. economy over $5 billion.
Joining us now, produce importer Peter Kopke Sr. Peter, thank you so much for being here. Peter, you have dealt with how many of these types of strikes in your 60 years in business, multiples. But what could consumers be in store for? Shortages and higher prices for the...
Let's find out what's going to happen when people on the East Coast go in the grocery store. Mostly people on the East Coast. What's going to happen?
Very kinds of fruits that you import.
Yes, well, I've been doing it for 66 years, and I've experienced, we had strikes in the late 50s and in the 60s, and in 1971.
But this is different.
The last strike was in 77. And of course, as soon as you have a strike, you have the supplies of all of those articles in the ships are cut off, so you have a market without the commodities, and the prices rise sharply. Right now, there's millions of boxes of citrus fruit, as well as bananas and others that are...
This is what we need to rack up on right now. Rack up on citrus fruits, bananas. These are the type of things, if you're on the East Coast right now, buy soon as you can, get those belongings. If you can get them now.
That are going to be caught in the strike. And if the strike lasts for any length of time, the fruit will deteriorate, and those people, those businesses who employ thousands of employees will have to stop because they're going to lose millions of dollars. So it's a very, very serious thing especially for perishables. It's not good for anything, but for perishables, it is
especially for perishable items. So that's what you want to get. And this is something that's going to pass, but it may last way, as everybody's saying on the news, it may last way into 2025.
A very serious question, because the fruit is not like wine. It deteriorates. It doesn't improve with age.
So Peter, with the fruit, go ahead, finish up. Go ahead.
All of the businesses associated with the import and export will be curtailed because the business won't be there. Now, this is something that is quite different since 50 or 60 years ago, because now the international commerce is...
Learning how to flash freeze and can is very important. That's something that's definitely on the agenda. Learn how to flash freeze and really can, and really invest in mason jars and things like that, because it's gonna get real in America real soon. And like I said, this is gonna be one of those things that we're gonna make it through it, but it's gonna really tap into some people's minds where they understand the reality of what they got to do, just the minor things to start preparing. You know what I'm saying?
A tremendous part of our economy. Yeah. And so everybody is affected when you have a strike. You have 45,000 workers affecting 350 million people. That's the effect of the strike. So it's very, very serious.
When I say flash freeze, I mean like drying out. They call it flash freeze. Some people call it that. I mean like literally drying out fruits and vegetables. You know how you can buy the dried out fruits? You could do it yourself too. Let's go.
Serious. And if they go to strike for 30 or 40 days, most of the produce will be lost. People will be going out of business, and the economy will be seriously affected in an inflationary way. The government,
freeze drying. Yep.
Government says they want to reduce the inflation, but they can hardly reduce it if they don't even engage the unions. In order to...
Kamala and Biden is not going to engage the unions. I don't got them doing it. I don't got them sitting down coughing up that money, because it's, for some reason, I believe it's taking money out their own pockets. I believe it's taking money out their own pockets, y'all. Yeah, dehydrate the fruits and vegetables. That's important. Somebody said equipment to freeze dry is over $3,500. Yeah, sound like a good investment though. It really do. It sounds like a real good investment. You got some dudes on the block. You got some dudes on the block that spend that on an outfit. They go to Saks and go down to the damn mall and they blow that on a fit. They blow that on a jacket. They blowing that on video game consoles and jewelry. When that's something you can have that's there in case of stuff like this, when you really need it.
Not to prevent the strike, but to get them to negotiate.
Yeah.
And they're not negotiating. And,
Peter,
and the president of the ILA says we have to strike because we
we're coming up against a hard break. We are going to have to run. We're going to continue to follow this story. It's important to America.
Man. It's getting real out here, man. I want to read something real quick and how this is going to affect the election. I'm on Politico, and it says how a massive, and again, before I read this, it could be a simulation. Sometimes they give us simulations, and they tell you these things just as a simulation, right? In case, and then they'll do it later, right? But this one looks like it may be coming. For real. It says how a massive port strike could scramble the 2024 race. It says a lengthy work stoppage could drive up prices and delay imports of automobiles, bananas, and even Christmas decorations. Ports along the eastern Gulf Coast are on the verge of a dock worker strike that could damage the U.S. economy just a month before the election, creating a political conjury for President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. Intervening to stop the strike, as Biden did 2 years ago, to prevent rail workers from walking off the job. Look, I'm going to just tell y'all right now, if you on a 9 to 5, if you watching this video right now, and you the leader of your job, everybody look up to you, right? If there's ever a time, and I'm not saying this to sow any public outrage, but if it's any a time to try to get what you want at your workplace, I'm talking about as a whole, like whole companies. If you the head person in charge, if there's any a time, you better take it now. You better take it now. And I'm talking about the strike. Anyway, intervening to stop the strike as Biden did 2 years ago, but allowing a lengthy work stoppage could unleash pain on consumers, driving up prices and delaying imports and automobiles, bananas, Christmas decorations. The president of a 132-year-old union, Erston Biden Alley Harold Daggett, said he's willing to push the economy past its breaking point if the United States Maritime Alliance doesn't agree to substantial wage hikes and safeguards against the automation of union jobs. So they're willing to push this thing to the limit. The unions not playing. Look, there was once upon a time where unions ran this country. If you are elder in here and you understand the power of the union, if you are over 60, 50 years old right now and you know the power of the unions because you've been there, let me know in the chat. But they're not playing. When the union, when it comes to imports, saying, look, we're not finna work no more. Ain't nothing getting transported. And guess what? Nobody else can go on them docks. I think what's going to end up happening, if this happened, there's going to be some people jumping in that water, man. There's going to be some, I got some vigilantes. Because this ain't 1960, bro. This ain't 1950. There's going to be vigilantes, real live pirates on speedboats. There's going to be real live pirates on speedboats breaking in them boats. They don't give a damn about no union clearances or none of that. It's going to get real out here. But people be thinking it's a damn game. America's fall. This is Babylon. This place is going downhill. Somebody said bananas are going up faster and faster. Yes, exactly. Moshe says people are going to start forming barbarian tribes. 100. People are going to be forming their own militias, all of that. Like, people don't play. Listen, we talking about half the food in the country. What is your president and vice president going to do right now? And let me ask y'all this. You Democrats out there, y'all still going to vote for these people? Are y'all still going to vote for these people? I'm telling you, but this, like I said, this is something that we the people can survive, man. It's gonna come and go, but y'all gotta understand how real this stuff is. You can't be a person who stick your head in the sand and never prepare for nothing, bro. But your mind is on celebrity stuff 24/7. Somebody said, why are you voting for Trump? I'm not voting for nobody. I'm voting for the Most High. The U.S. is done. I pray the Most High safeguard his people who are obedient to his word. People who read and know what's going on in the world. People who can see and realize what's taking place. I pray that the Most High seal those people. And all those people who are scoffers, just like they were scoffing Noah and scoffing the biblical prophets, let them do what they're going to do. But the people who know the word, the people who really believe the word, not just talking, but actually believe what they read, you know, I pray those people find a safe haven and find protection, no matter where they located. I pray that the Most High's wedge of protection is over their homes, just like it was, you know, back in the day in Passover when the blood was on the door. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, you know what I'm saying? I'm not afraid of nothing. If you scared, then you scared. Because some of y'all hear these type of topics and you get all scared and frantic and it actually makes you more stagnant when I'm just letting you know how real it is. You really should stay grounded. But you got to know that these things are coming. And there's certain things that you might want to invest in the future. Because you can see what's happening in this country. I ain't voting for nobody. I don't believe in America's system. I don't believe in the system. But I do truly believe in the Bible.
Tens of thousands of port workers from Texas all the way to Maine are set to go on strike Tuesday. The U.S. Maritime Association, which represents the major shipping lines, terminal operators, and port authorities, is on one side of the negotiating table. The other side is the International Longshoremen's Association, which represents 85,000 members. It is reportedly asking for a $5 an hour raise per year over the newest 6-year contract. The Maritime...
They better pay them people. Andy, thanks for the contribution, says it's mind-boggling how they tell us before it happens, but the majority could care less. Thank you for all you do. Ignore the agents in the chat. I do my best to help you block these busters. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Association says the union's demands are unreasonable, but we can tell you if they walk off the job.
They're saying the union's demands are unreasonable. Boy, listen, they providing all our food. Whatever they asking for, y'all better work that out. Or it's going to turn into damn Hunger Games out here. Literally Hunger Games. It's going to turn into damn Game of Thrones out here. Like, what are they talking about? The Purge out here. They control half the food in the country, importing it. Talking about what they asking for is unreasonable. We better pay them people. Them people work hard, bro. Them people be unloading pallets, trucks, You know what them people got to do?
The flow of a wide variety of goods could stop at many of the cargo ports, and that could make things more expensive again. Remember the supply chain issues of the pandemic? Here to explain how this could impact our holidays, which are coming up very quickly, is the CEO of National Tree Company, Chris Butler. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Amy. How are you?
Good. I'm great. I mean, I see all those Christmas trees behind you ready to go out already. I mean, obviously, in your position, doing a lot of shipping around the country, you're sort of in a good position to tell us how the supply chain issues impacted you all. But I mean, do you think that this...
Y'all get the likes up over 1,000. Shout out to all the real ones who are taking in this information and moving accordingly and understand what's going on. Let's go.
The strike goes Tuesday. How soon would companies like yours and consumers start seeing the impacts?
Yeah, I think right now we'll be in okay shape for the next month or so. But after that, probably right around that Thanksgiving timeframe, which is when roughly 50% of consumers buy their Christmas goods, their Christmas decor, their Christmas trees, that's when you might start to feel the pinch a little bit, and you might start...
Well, your pagan holiday is about to be shut down this year. Y'all hear that? It's starting to look like that your satanic Saturnalia is about to get shut down. You know the irony of it? Diddy's parties is really Saturnalia. That's what was really going on in Saturnalia, all them orgies and freak fests. But it looked like they about to shut that on down because it ain't gonna be none of that abominable ham on the table this year. No Nimrod trees, none of that. They're telling you right now, Babylon is falling. No more Nimrod trees for y'all. No more pagan satanic festival days for y'all. Better cleave to the Most High.
Empty shelves and some out of stock items.
I mean, and then that's just sort of the supply and demand. I mean, would that make things cost more? I mean, that's really just a bottleneck. We can't get them at all. Or are we saying it'll raise the price down the road if this raise is implemented?
Yeah, it will definitely raise the prices next season. If this is prolonged, it could definitely last a very long time, and that will definitely raise the price of shipping next year, which obviously will then start raising the prices, overall. So, I think there's definitely going to be some price implications later in the season.
Yeah, and so talking about this season, I mean, you just mentioned if this strike happens and it continues around that Thanksgiving timeframe would be when people would start noticing a difference. Does this mean, do you think people should start shopping earlier before that time?
Yeah, definitely. In 2021, as you mentioned, obviously we had this huge issues with shipping, and we said buy now, buy early, and that's what we're saying again this year. I think that by the time you get to that Thanksgiving timeframe, you might start seeing the slow kind of trickle of goods dry up. Mm-hmm. And so we're saying buy now, buy early. October 8th and October 9th, Amazon are having a huge sale. I know a lot of online retailers are having a huge sale as well. So we're suggesting that people get online, go to the stores, and really start buying early this year.
I mean, the cynic in me says, of course you want people to go online and buy
Absolutely.
Now, buy early. I mean, I'm like, that's just a marketing thing. But we did see sort of how it shaped up. It was that 2021 when a lot...
So there we have it. The holidays is going to be affected. All of the news stations are saying the same thing. So when they on one accord like that, they're programming the people, letting you know it's going to happen, right? So there you have it. Half of import, our chain supply shut down. Stay in the truth. Pardon me, y'all. Stay in the truth, man. Keep your head in the word and move accordingly. Pray that the Holy Spirit lead and guide you where you need to go to secure yourself in this day and age, because it's really not a game. You know what I'm saying? It's real out here. And they're telling you what's going to happen. Look, y'all have a blessed one, man. Y'all stay safe out here. I'll chop it up with y'all at a later time. And yeah, definitely share the video, let people know, show this to people who may be in these areas. Shalom and peace.